Alrighty, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Liam's Lessons. I'm your host, Liam Sandry, and today we're going to be talking about Dissatisfied by Winston. Dissatisfied by Winston is one of the audios that I was listening to not too long ago. And you know how this goes in this video. I'm going to be outlining some of the key points, some of the, the really prominent points that are in this audio and that I believe, resonated with me, and the ones that, ultimately I think would resonate with a lot of you guys as well. One of the opening points within this audio is Winston talks about, a true leader is someone with many people behind them. And his description, well, my description of that would be, someone who's reputable, someone who you can really listen to, get along with, someone that you can just have a conversation with, someone who you can relate to, and that's ultimately Manny's description of what a true leader is. Someone who basically, just has a lot of people behind them. Someone who, is a reputable source to a lot of people. Someone like that. Someone who can really get behind a lot of people, and someone, who ultimately can lead a lot of people as well. That would be what a leader is. Another point that he opens up in this audio is, a true leader finds superstars. Find superstars that can really help your business grow. Find superstars within your business that are going to help lead your business as well. If you find those people, that they ultimately can turn into other leaders within your business, and ultimately, like I said, will help your business grow as well. Another point that Manny likes to open up in this video is, our world is run by a lot of people who don't want to be leaders. Our world is run by people, I guess run by a lot of people who don't really see value in being a leader. And he asks, what would our world be if people would just, they wouldn't go with what the masses were doing. They would kind of just go on with what they were doing. They'll kind of just follow their gut and follow their intuition. And, that really got me thinking, like, our world would be very different. It would be a very different place. It would be a very different world, ultimately. And, I believe we would have more leaders. We would have more people that would want to step up and kind of be their own person, instead of having people telling them what they should do and, what they shouldn't do. Another point he likes to open in this video is, or in this audio, is he likes to touch up on, what wealthy people do. Wealthy people, look at what the masses are doing and just do the opposite. You'd see that, broke people or poor people, they don't do what wealthy people do. And they don't like to be their own person. They like to just look at what the masses are doing and just follow that. Whether it's because it seems correct to do so, or, just because they don't want to be judged personally. Ultimately, that's what our world is. It's run by a lot of people who, don't want to be their own person. And unfortunately, that, that falls onto them, that falls onto their character, and it becomes what our world is today. A lot of the information that people are being taught today as well is a bit outdated. And I feel like, being taught outdated information ultimately leads to, an outdated way of thinking or an outdated way of doing things. It's taught in our schools, it's taught in our universities, it's spoke about, in society, and that's what ultimately leads to, I guess, people being sheep and just people following what other people are doing. We're just taught information that doesn't really help us grow anymore. It could have been taught maybe 40, 50 years ago and people would understand it, but today, personally, I don't think that the information we're being taught is relevant at all to us, and I don't think it helps ultimately people grow. In school and in university, let's just use that for example, we're taught to, get good grades, go to college and get a good job. That's not a way of living that should be promoted anymore. Ultimately, that's what I call a slave way of living. Like, you go to school, you do what everyone else did. You go to university, you're still doing, what a lot of people like to do, and then you get a job, which is what most people have, or what most people do today, is, they get good grades, they go to college, and they get a job. And they do that, and they live that way for the next 40 years of their life. And it's very sad, and that goes back to, being taught outdated information. Like I said, it's being taught in our schools, and it's being taught to our younger generation, and that's what they believe they should be listening to, and ultimately that's what they believe they should, that's how they should be living their lives. That's simply not the case. Um, you can be your own person. You can live the way you want to live. It just starts with taking that first step and doing what, most people aren't doing. Um, most people walk around with what Manny Winston likes to call I'll take your word for it mentality. No one likes to think for themselves anymore. No one likes to think um, personally the way they would like to do things or like to see things. A lot of people, the masses like to just kind of look at what other people are doing. Like I said earlier in this video, um, look at the way they're kind of shaping their own thoughts and beliefs, and they kind of just go with it. Oh, okay, it seems like you got that all figured out. I'll just take that from you, and I'll think the way you're thinking. Um, that's ultimately what leads to more sheep, more people just following the way, following what other people are doing instead of becoming their own person and thinking like their own person. Um, if you want to become that person, you're going to be broke. Ultimately, if you feel like you want to fit in and kind of just do what other people are doing, you're going to be broke. That's another thing that Manny Winston touched up in this video. If that's the way you want to go about things, then ultimately you're going to be like everybody else. Poor people, unfortunately, poor stands for, or what Manny Winston likes to describe poor as passing over opportunities repeatedly. If you see something that, potentially could help you grow and become a better person, and you decide to just push that to the side, that's on you. And that's ultimately a poor way of thinking. If you want to take that extra step and be your own person and see that this is something that could help you grow and it could help you benefit or benefit you, then that's good. You're not doing what most people do. You're being your own person, you're thinking for yourself, and ultimately it's going to help you grow in the long run. Another point that Manny Winston likes to touch up on this audio is, discipline creates successful people, or ultimately successful entrepreneurs. If you can discipline yourself to do what you don't want to do, but you do it anyways, you're going to be successful in the long run. Most people don't feel motivated to go to the gym every day. They still go to the gym every day. Most people don't feel motivated to get up and work on their business. They still get up and work on their business. They still do those little things that are necessary for them to be successful. The people who kind of relate to how they feel instead of relate to what they should be doing and being that disciplined person, they ultimately, they might still be successful, but it just takes them, that extra mile or that extra step to actually get there. The people who see what they should be doing right now in this very moment and are disciplined enough to kind of just go for it and do it, they're the people that are ultimately going to be successful. I know a lot of people who, they're very motivated, they're very somewhat driven, but they're not disciplined people. And that's the difference. You can be motivated all you want, you can be driven all you want, but if you're not disciplined to do what you should be doing, you're not going to be successful. If someone has to pick you up to kind of get you to, or push you into a certain direction to do what you should be doing, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough because you can't rely on people to help you, especially if you want to become your own person and if you want to be successful in the long run. Ultimately also, the disciplined and dissatisfied people, kind of like the title of this video, the dissatisfied people are the ones that change the world, and the ones that ultimately do something great for other people or for themselves. A dissatisfied person is someone who just wants more and just wants more and just wants more. I know a lot of people also who, they get to a certain level, they get to a certain point, and they get satisfied. They relax, they sit back, and they think, oh wow, wasn't that easy? No, it's not easy. And ultimately, the ones that are going to be satisfied every time they reach a certain goal and reach a certain point, they're not going to push forward or push for more. They're not going to be the ones that do something great. Ultimately, Manny Winston likes to touch up on dissatisfied people are the ones that change the world, and ultimately the ones that do something great. And I can really look at that point and think, yeah, that's very true. That's very relatable. You look at any big wealth creators in our world today, big entrepreneurs, they're always striving for more. They've always got something bigger in the works or something bigger they got planned. And you can see that they keep on being super successful people, super successful entrepreneurs, super successful business people, wealth creators. And they just, they keep doing more. They keep having a reason to do more. And that's why, and that's what, that's what discipline breeds. It breeds successful people. You know, touching up on that last point, dissatisfied people want to change the world. How many people do you want to change? How many people's lives do you want to impact? That's another great point that Manny likes to bring up in this audio. It's one thing to do something for yourself, but it's another to do something for other people. If you're willing to go that extra mile and change people's lives, like for me, for example, personally, I don't want to be successful just for me. I want to be successful for the other people that I love and care about, the people that are around me. Ultimately, that's also why I want to be successful. I want to change the people's lives around me. I don't want people, well, the ones I care about at least, to just go through life and waltz on through life, living a life that they don't want to live. If I've built this big successful empire, I want people that I care about to kind of, be able to feed off of that as well, and ultimately maybe, be their own very successful person. But the point is, how many more people, or how many people do you really want to impact? How many people's lives do you want to change? And, ultimately that just lands on you. Be grateful, but never be satisfied. That's another point that Manny likes to bring up in this video, or in this audio, sorry. Be grateful, but never be, never be tamed by your own goals. Never be never be relaxed. Never sit back and think, oh, wow, this is what I set out to do. I've done it, and now I've got nothing else to do. Don't do that. Don't become that person. Don't have that mentality. Always be grateful for what you have. Always be grateful for where you've come. Never be satisfied. If you're satisfied, you're not growing. Another great point that he brings up in this audio. If you become that reluctant person to keep pushing for more, you're not going to grow. You're going to be stagnant. You're going to stay there. If one of my goals is to make $1 million, I'm never going to exceed that goal of making $1 million. If I've always got this mentality of wanting to push for more and wanting to become more, I'm going to be more, and I'm going to become more. And ultimately, I'm going to push for more. I'm going to make more than $1 million. I might make $2 million. Maybe my goal is to make $5 million. Even if I get to that goal of making $5 million and I get reluctant and I get satisfied with $5 million, I'm not going to exceed that goal. One of the biggest wealth creators or biggest entrepreneurs that I can relate to, or can't really relate to, but I can kind of take a piece from, is Dan Pena. Dan Pena once said, you'll never exceed your highest expectation of yourself. If your highest expectation of yourself at the end of your life is to accumulate $10 million, you're never going to exceed making $10 million. So, if you're satisfied with what you're doing in your current situation, or if you're satisfied with your goals, you're never going to exceed those goals. So always, strive for more. And that's why it's always important just to, keep pushing and keep being, keep looking for exterior things to kind of help you grow as a person. But that's it for me today, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.